Hey y'all, I'm Kay. This is Ecstatic Self, and today we're going to do an energetic body tour. Woo! So, we're going to explore something that you've probably heard of before. Maybe you have an idea of what it's like, maybe it's just a word you've tossed around. We're going to explore something called chakras and something called nadis. Now, they have different terms depending on what tradition you meditate in. Traditional Chinese medicine, for example, talks about them as being meridians. Modern energy work might call them energy centers. But basically, just as you have a circulatory system, a nervous system, your energetic body also has its own wiring. It kind of matches your physical body, but it sits on another level. And with internal awareness, with internal gazing, you can start to contact it and experience it as viscerally as you do your real flesh. Now, chakras are nexus points. They're where all the little nadis, all the little energetic channels meet. You have hundreds and hundreds. I forget how many traditionally they say there are. There's several thousand traditional ones. Doesn't really matter. Most of us will only ever become aware of the major ones. And that's what we're going to focus on today. There are minor ones in your palms and your feet, different places, but we're going to focus on the major ones in your torso. And they run down the central column of your body, and they are joined by three of the largest nadis, three of the largest energetic channels, and three of the most important ones that run through. And they all connect there. So right down the very center of your being is something called the Sushumna. The Sushumna is a big central channel that kind of runs like parallel, like straight through the spine, right near it, right slightly in front of it. And eventually, as you become more awoke, as you become more I don't like the word enlightened because that makes it sound like something that's like we're all going for and something that's perfect and we're done, because I don't think we're ever done. Once we start to clarify some of our nadis, it becomes this really beautiful hollow space where we can start to transfer energy. Crisscrossing are the Ida and the Pingala. Now, these two channels are representing the lunar and solar halves of our body. In another video, I actually just talked about the polarity of the body, balancing masculine, feminine, solar, and lunar. So one is cooling, the other is warming, one is solar, the other is lunar, one is masculine, one is feminine. And so sometimes you'll experience one of those channels as we're working with the central column. They go down to the perineum and down towards the very base, and they stop up here in the nasal cavity. The Sushumna goes all the way up to the top of your head. Starts at the same place though. So we're going to do a meditation. I'm going to take you on a little bit of a tour of the chakras that run along the Sushumna. Do your best to just let the experience be what it is. Don't focus too much on trying to visualize the things I'm describing. Just let it be what it is. If you feel something, great. If you don't feel something, great. It doesn't really matter. You are where you are, and where you are is perfect. So let's meditate together. Close your eyes or look down at the ground. And just take a deep breath. Remind yourself to just be where you are. And feel yourself deeply let go. Like you're sinking into warm butter. Feel your mind's eye dropping down out of your head, down your throat. You can swallow to help relax. Down your heart, down your belly, down past your navel, your loins. We're going to sink right into the very bottom of our pelvis, right down in the perineum. Some people call it the taint region. And I want you to breathe down here. You can flex your pelvic floor muscles like you've got a P if you're struggling to feel this area. It's called Mula Bandha. This is the first energy center. It's deep blood red in color. And it's called the Muladhara chakra. It radiates downward into the earth, and it is the element of earth. It's what connects you to the ground, connects you to this planet, and it's the chakra of survival. If you are feeling like you're getting your needs met, you're safe, you're stable, you're grounded, all those things come from here. If you don't have those things, you're going to feel unbalanced. You're going to feel like your life is in chaos or swirling around. So it's really important to do the external things that make you feel grounded, like, having stability in your life, going to bed, waking up at the same time, paying your bills on time, working regular hours as best you can, getting your needs met, and then doing the energetic things to help you stay grounded, breathing here, opening here. Now just a little bit higher up is the second chakra, the Swadhisthana chakra, or the sex chakra. It's at the insertion point of the genitals, just a little bit in. It's traditionally described as being orange in color, and its element is water. So as you move into this space, you might feel a sense of flowing if you're open here. If you're tight, it might feel much more stagnant, more frozen. But if you've opened in your sex chakra, it's going to feel a little bit like a beautiful hot tub, a swirling pool of water energy. I like to envision a big, dark cave with a huge pond in the middle, and the water's warm and glowing, maybe even a little frosty, a little misty. This is the seat of your emotional self, your creative self, and your sexual self. So if you're feeling connected with other people, if you're feeling artistic, if you're feeling inspired, if you feel like you have good emotional regulation, you've probably got some good openness here. Again, we need to take care of the physical things. We need to make sure that we're being connected with other people, that we're having positive sexual interactions, that we're creatively fulfilled and making art, making love. But then we also need to do the energetic things of opening here, so those things then in turn flow easier. So breathe into this space, invite anything tight to melt and thaw and flow and swirl. And we're going to go up a little bit higher, so we're going to go up to the belly. Now this next one, the navel chakra, the Maripurna chakra, is the element of fire, the fire in the belly. It's the seat of personal power. It's the source of strength and boundaries. If you're physically strong, if you're emotionally strong, mentally strong, domineering, not necessarily a good thing, but domineering, you probably have a very open navel chakra. Now honestly, this is one of my areas where I really, really struggle with, and there's a few reasons why. Doesn't matter for this video, but we all have our areas where we're tight, and my navel chakra is still an area where I really have to work on. Some traditions describe it as being right below the belly button. Some describe it as being up more towards the diaphragm region. As this is not my biggest energy center, I personally find that it sits in a little bit of different places, different times. So feel what feels best for you. I don't have a perfect answer for you on this one right now. It's something I'll continue to work on. And it just goes to show, right? Even people who've been doing this for 14 years, we still don't have it all figured out. If someone else has a really robust experience about your navel chakra, feel free to comment on it below. Personally, I feel the fire usually right around my navel, if that's helpful for you. The next one is usually an easy one. For me to experience, and for a lot of people, it's the heart. So you're going to come up right to the center of your chest. The heart chakra, usually emerald in color. It's called the Anahata chakra. Its element is air, and it's tremendously expansive. Now the heart is a really special chakra energy center in the body because it's also the seat of the self. It's the seat of your soul, your consciousness. In America, we tend to say, where do you exist? You usually think towards your head. In most of the world, you say, where do you exist? They usually point to your heart. In fact, the ancient Egyptians, they'd mummify the heart. They'd liquefy and drain the brain because they thought it was unimportant. When you think about loving someone, you think of your heart. When you think about care and concern, you think of your heart. When you think about loss and heartbreak, disappointment, betrayal, you think of your heart. If there's only one energy center you want to get familiar with, I highly recommend starting and ending here. It's a beautiful place. It is a place of infinite depth and will lead you to your best self. It will bring up pain because there is a lot of trauma stored here. So don't be surprised if you cry, if you laugh, if you experience strange things when you work on your heart, because this is where connection and disconnection lies. So imagine this bright light glowing in your chest and expanding outwards. Let's go up a little bit higher. We're going to go to the base of the throat, the Vishuddha chakra, the throat chakra, element of ether, space. If you feel tight here, you can physically swallow. That sometimes helps you relax. It's usually described as being blue in color, more of a royal blue. This is where your personal voice comes from, physically and metaphorically. This is where your authority and you can share who you are and articulate yourself. Writers, poets, speakers usually have a very open throat chakra or have worked on it. Psychic abilities can also come from the throat chakra, so people who want to develop clairaudience can really focus here. Clairsentience too a little bit. I tend to find this is one of the more overlooked chakras. And then we're going to go up to the third eye, just between and slightly above the eyebrows, the Anya chakra. Usually described as being indigo, sometimes purple in color. The third eye is the seat of insight. In the mundane level, that can be figuring things out, comprehension, understanding. On a more psychic, intuitive level, it can be about being able to know things far away, being able to have visions, possibly being able to have more robust psychic abilities, like being able to move things with your mind or levitation, all that kind of stuff. There are described the Mahasiddhis, the great psychic powers. Those manifest through here. That's not something I'm going to be discussing in this channel, but that's definitely an area of exploration if it applies to you. The reason I don't explore those things too much is most meditative traditions describe Mahasiddhis as being, or any siddhis, any psychic powers as being distractions, because the ultimate goal is to achieve full liberation, to reach a state where you are free of all your karmic bonds and you're existing in pure consciousness, pure love, pure awareness. And you don't want to get too caught up in, oh, I can levitate that spoon. Cool. Did that make you a better person? So meditate here. It's a good thing to help you be more expansive, more aware. Just don't get too caught up in the flash and bangs. And then another really important chakra. We're going to go up to the top of your head. The crown chakra. This is your connection to the divine. Some describe it as being the purple chakra. I always envision it as being pure white light. It's also described as being a 10,000 petal lotus. That's this giant flower just blooming right above the top of your head. In this place we experience heaven. In this space we experience wholeness and oneness with all creation. Sahasrara chakra. Now it's interesting to point out that we as humans, we have these 7 chakras. Animals don't have all 7. And what's really interesting is we have our crown, which is pure heaven. We have our root, which is pure earth. And we have our heart, which is in the middle. And that's where we exist. We as human beings are creatures of spirit and creatures of flesh. We need both sides, and if ever you find yourself existing in just one or the other, you're in a state of imbalance, because we want to be both connected to our divine heritage and to our deeply human natures. I've heard a lot of energetic teachers say that this earth is the most amazing place to incarnate, because it's a place where you can really change, where you can really grow. It's like the psychic repair center of the universe. Yeah, it's gritty, it can be sometimes really hard, but this is the best incarnation possible, because if you're listening to this video, you have what you call a precious human life. You're being exposed to the truth, the deeper teachings, which means you have the opportunity to become so much more than this limited version of self. And when we can connect with these energy centers, when we can connect with the polarity, the heaven and the earth, and the humanness within us, we can become what we're meant to be. So I encourage you to sit here a few minutes. You can try and run up and down this Sushumna, feeling your energy centers. In later videos, we'll talk about how we can use these energy centers a little bit more actively. But for now, I want to just leave you with this. Feel your root, feel your sex chakra, feel your navel, your heart, your throat, your third eye, and your crown. The light in me bows to the light in you. Inside we are one. Namaste.